All right, let's run it back one more time, just so we have a nice clean.
Yeah.
Okay. You like the song though or no?
Yeah, all this little shit that we're doing though, because it's us learning. You know what I mean? Let's just fuck it, leave it in.
Okay, sweet. Because
that's what it is.
We're probably gonna have
the least amount of time we fuck with this, the better. If you could just fucking upload it, post it, that's it. You know what I mean? That's the level we want to get to. You know?
Yeah. All right. Take 3.
So talk directly into the mic. Don't fucking bob and weave. 100%. Yeah. Am I ever taken from all the way from the beginning? Okay.
All right. Ready?
All right.
Alright guys, welcome to the Nicky Ride All Access podcast.
What's happening, guys? Nicky Ride All Access, episode 1. And the podcast where we're going to be talking about a very large array of things. Eventually, I'm going to have a guest on here, so you won't just hear me talking all the time. But yeah, so pretty much, I guess we're going to start with where I kind of started my wrestling career, which is about 13 years old, somewhere in middle school, I believe, 5th or 6th grade. I had a bunch of friends, growing up that together we did a bunch of diverse sports. So we'd go out, we'd ride skateboards together. We would ride BMX bikes. I was like bobbing and weave a little bit.
That's
right?
good. It's okay.
Yeah. Call me out though, because I'll catch it. Yeah. So what's happening right now is I keep as you guys can kind of hear me going distance. I'm talking away from the mic, which is not what you're supposed to do. Learning process right now. We're getting better. Okay, so what I was saying is, let's stretch this out a little bit. Boom.
Yeah, so take us back to the beginning, man.
Yeah. All right, so kind of where we started, my athletic career around 13 years old. In middle school, I had a bunch of friends, did a bunch of shit together. So what I believe happened, right, was because I am today as an athlete, I'm not just good at grappling and wrestling. I'm good at a larger variety of sports. I'm pretty good at riding skateboards. I can go snowboarding. I could probably surf. Never did it, but riding motocross pretty well. BMX. All the kind of just diversity of sports, I'm pretty good at it, and I adapt to them pretty well. It seems like I've always had the ability to learn and adapt to new things, new techniques of different fundamentals of sports. But yeah, so I think growing up, just having friends that you could play basketball and play football with and shit like that kind of can set you up for becoming an athlete if that's something that you want to do. So from there, I guess around 13 years old, I had a friend that got me into football, which eventually led me once winter came around to going into wrestling. And I think his dad was the coach at the time. And I remember my first practice. I walked in there. Actually, I was talking to my parents, and I was like, I'm thinking about wrestling, and they were kind of like, all right, this could be good, but are you gonna wear that singlet, that tight, little leotard? And I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that. So eventually, we're kind of just I don't really care. A bunch of kids are doing it. It's probably gonna be fun. So I was like, all right, well, let's go to practice, and his, my buddy's dad actually had a big role in that, because my buddy was a pretty good wrestler at the time, and his dad was just like, I see you guys hang out all the time. It could be great for you to kind of learn to wrestle and take somebody down if necessary. So, after he kind of talked me into it, then I talked to my parents, and they're like, yeah, give it a shot. I went over there, went into practice, and I fell in love with it instantly. I remember the warm up, we just started sprinting the mats, and first 5 minutes, of course, I used all my energy, so I was dead tired, and I couldn't understand why these guys weren't tired. You know what I mean? These other guys kept going, and I was dying, and was it's a process, it's a learning process. You get in shape, and it's like if I keep doing this, I can do this longer. I can go further, you know. So amongst drilling and stuff, I immediately had success against another wrestler that it was his first day as well. So I remember we were drilling headlock finishes, right? So the first thing we learned like stance, and then maybe a double and a headlock. So learned like those three moves, worked them for an hour practice or so, and then at the end of the practice, we actually went live. So me and this kid, that's both our first times practicing, we go live, and I remember I headlocked him like 3 times, like immediately, and I was like, I'm fucking this kid up. And in my mind, I was like, if this is a real fight, I'm gonna fuck this guy up. And I kind of got hooked on it. I was like, I can do this to everybody. I was like that was my mindset immediately. I was like, I want to do this to everybody. So I would literally go around, and I want to say maybe the first 2 weeks, I was like just only trying headlocks, and then then the coach was like, listen, you got to try different shit, because I was just getting beat up. You know, everybody, the kids that have been wrestling there, you know, have been there longer, and I just knew more. So slowly, you know, you learn to just you learn to learn, I guess. Yeah, you have like. It's hard for some people to take in information and kind of make their mind and body recall it at the same time. It's just really something that always kind of grabbed my attention span. So I guess after that, we kind of just wrestled every wrestling season amongst doing other sports. Like I tried football. I did that for a couple of years. It was fun. I thought I was pretty good at it. I mean, I played for a few years prior. I remember my first play actually in high school. My first play in football was a sack. They put me at far left tight end. Oh no, what's the defensive guy? Defensive tackle? Defensive tackle. Shows you what the fuck I know.
Stick to wrestling.
Exactly. So they started me at defensive tackle on the far left side, and immediately in my first play I get a sack. So that's pretty good, you know what I mean?
So and what age were you when you were doing football?
So when I was this play I'm talking about was freshman year in high school, and but I started football I guess maybe 2 or 3 years before wrestling. I must have started football at like 9 or 10. Started wrestling 12, 13ish. So like, yeah, football was fun, but it was more fun like when you were winning. Like I didn't feel like I learned anything when I lost like a football game. Like it was honestly anytime we lost a football game and my team sucked. Like my like my town team, we would go like 3 years not win. Like we wouldn't go 500. Like we wouldn't win 5 games in a season. And my high school team was pretty much the same. They had a few good years here and there where they like made state or won state out of, you know, the 20 years or so. But for the most part, it was just, wasn't that good, you know? So it was just like every time we lost, which was constantly, everybody would just blame each other. Like it was always somebody else's fault. And I was like, I'm doing what I need to do. You guys are just lazy. These guys are out of shape. I would see them being, you know, more tired. Not that I was in crazy good shape at the time, but you know, playing football, you can, being an athlete in general, you can see when somebody's just not putting in the effort. And that's what I felt like majority of the time. Like these guys just weren't putting in the effort. So I was like I didn't feel like I was motivating them by me being motivated. Like usually, you know, if you're around somebody that's motivated, you'll fucking, you know, usually up the pace or whatnot and try to match them or whatever. But that just didn't seem the case.
So do you feel like the football team fed off each other a lot less than the wrestling teams, even though it's team sport?
Yeah, you know, it comes in. It could have just been that we were just young kids and didn't know much. You know what I mean? But in my experience, it felt like yeah, everybody. Just because we were in such a bad losing situation, like all the time we're lost. So it was never a like positive reinforcement. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to say. But for wrestling, for me, because wrestling was my school's best sport. It was like always positive reinforcement. Like we were always doing something right. And whatever we did wrong, like, we fixed it there immediately. And in football, it's kind of hard because you have so many kids to work with. It's not like, whatever you did wrong in this game, you might fix it in a week or so. It wasn't immediately. Like if I did something wrong in that match, in that practice, it got fixed right then and there, because it was a lesser group, it wasn't as many people. But yeah, it's definitely another thing that just pushed me away from it. And then I guess besides like football and wrestling, I tried soccer. I did soccer one summer. I went to like 2 practices like my sophomore year, going into my sophomore year of high school. And I think I ran over like 1 or 2 kids, and I was like, oh man, this probably isn't the sport for me. So I was just running these kids over in practice, and then like after I ran those 2 kids over, every time I went towards the ball, they would just like disperse. Mind you, I have like a foot or 2 over these guys, so they would just like disperse immediately when I went towards the ball. So yeah, I kind of quickly figured out it wasn't a sport for me. And then I want to say I tried either junior or my senior in high school. I tried track and field, and I actually did surprisingly well. Like I wasn't much of a sprinter, but I was pretty good like long distance run.
What was your best run, track and field?
So I don't know. So I never ran in competition for track and field, but I did cross country. Mm-hmm. And for what's cross country? It's 5Ks, like 3.5 miles or some shit like that. I think I did 18-20 with no practice. Like I just went in and did it. I never went to
that's like 6-minute miles, dude.
Yeah, and I did, mind you, like I never went to practice. Yeah. Like I went to practice like once or twice, and I was a guy that hid in the woods so the team was coming back. So yeah. I did pretty well, and then they like wanted me to like keep running because I did well. I was like, fuck, like I don't like this, and I just did it because like my wrestling coach was like, yo, this will probably help you out. Which the only way it helped you out, not physically but mentally, make you a little bit mentally tougher.
So, Brett, at that point, do you feel like most of what you were doing is to enhance your wrestling, whether it be track or working out?
Definitely. It was all honestly to better my wrestling.
Yeah, because I know there's you just posted that picture of 17-year-old Nicky Rod. So now everyone's wondering, man, how did you get to be that freaking athletic at that age?
Yeah, so I honestly didn't start lifting weights, especially like bodybuilder style, till I was 17, and just like as soon as my high school wrestling career ended, that's when I picked up the weights and was like, I think this is going to change my life, so I need to start doing this. But yeah, going back to like the track and field, so I did surprisingly well in like the long distance running, not so much in the short sprints, and then I did high jump, right, which is the one where you like run up and you jump over the bar backwards. I did close to 6 foot. I might have been like 5'10" or 5'11", which is like my school record at the time, which it's a small high school, which is like I think 6'3" or something like that, which for not ever doing the jump before and no technique at all, 5'10" was like pretty good. So did good in that. I did good in pole vault. I think I did close to like 10 foot in pole vault, which also no technique, just muscling it. And I just never committed to like the track and field thing. It was just never. I had no interest in it. Like it wasn't exciting for me. Honestly, I tried a bunch of different things, and the only thing that really excited me was in being inside of wrestling match, like getting the hand raised at the end, and the moments that happen inside the match, like where it's like you get into a scramble and like the crowd's just watching, everybody's yelling, and it's all for you and about you, So I like the independency of it, and even in losing, like I've lost fucking tons of matches and tons of important matches at that. Even losing, you can always take something away. Like especially on the mental aspect, you can learn what you did wrong and how to, like even changing your mentality can kind of increase your workload or relieve the anxiety that you have prior to a match, and that can make all the difference in competition. So like things like that always attracted me to it. And then of course, getting your hand raised at the end of a match is like, to us, it feels like you win a fight. It's the Grand Slam. You get an awesome takedown straight to a pin, it's like that's what you go for, man. People are yelling and stuff, and even at the small high school level, like especially in the state of New Jersey, like wrestling's our sport. Like it's just what we're known for, and the energy of it's crazy. Like it must be close to, like, I know Texas football is humongous, so in close comparison, Jersey wrestling is pretty tough, man, and everyone's pretty involved. Like you can go, if you're a popular wrestler, you can go down to the shore, to the beach where there's tons of people, and you'll probably get recognized, man. Like parents read the paper, they know what's going on. There's tons of spectators. They go to states every year, so it's nice. Definitely, I like the attention that I got from it. All the positive attention, and even when I had tough matches that I lost, like I'd have parents come up to me and be like, "Man, I can't believe you took this guy down." Like, I just showed. There's things that can happen in a wrestling match because it's so high pace and high energy that wouldn't happen on paper. You know what I mean? Like the 25th seed should never take down the state champ, but he ends up beating in overtime. Shit like that happens. So I like the you never know what's going to happen aspect of it.
So what happened after you finished your wrestling career? What were the next 4 years like for you? Because it was a while between that and ADCC, right?
Yeah. So when I finished my high school wrestling career, I remember the day after, like I lost states. I lost it. I think I won a match or two in the state tournament, and then lost 2 back to back, and it was over. So I went into the state tournament. I was like, I'm gonna win this tournament. Like in my fucking mind, in my heart, in my body, my soul, I was like, I'm gonna win this state tournament. There's no other option. There's no other room for mistake. This is all that matters. So go in there, fucking get beat up for however long, and then it was like I was like, oh my God, my life's over. And then after being fucking super dramatic for a few hours, I was like, all right, gotta move on. What's the next step? I'm like, all right, college, gotta figure out what I want to do job wise. For a long time, I thought it was going to be my goal was to be a state trooper. So I was like, all right, got to get into school, got to get a 4-year degree. Definitely got to wrestle in school because what else do we care about in life? So I signed to Ferrum College pretty much the last day of high school. So I had my mind set on that. But amongst the wrestling season, I was thinking about Ferrum. Like I've talked to Coach Pryor, to the season ending. So I was like, all right, these guys are probably, I'm probably going to give them a visit and whatnot. But I definitely want to wrestle like the next upcoming years. So day after I lose in the state tournament, I go home and I watch that movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Mark Wahlberg. They're in Miami. It's called like Pain and Gain, right? I watched that movie and I was like, I gotta lift weights. This is gonna change my life. So I pick up the weights and I literally just did a bunch of research, like on YouTube, studying a bunch of influencers, studying guys on YouTube, bodybuilders, powerlifters, trying to learn from everybody. And I just picked up the weights and then put them down. Like I'd lift 3 hours a day, like 6 to 7 days a week, every day. You know what I mean? Like I was lifting. That was my job. Like I would go to work and I would lift. So I had a little summer job. Like I'd work. I like 7 to 3. I did like Little Public Works, which was probably the best and the easiest job anybody could ever have. I cut lawns. Not even lawns. I cut like retention ponds with lawnmowers, quality lawnmowers with like suspension, super comfortable. Put your fucking earbuds in, and you cut grass for like 4 hours, and then the other 4 hours you usually sleep in the truck because your job's done. So yeah, it was like the greatest job ever. You made shit money, but it was fun. The dudes were cool to work with, and you kind of just, honestly, just did whatever you wanted. And yeah, in high school, I would just bang chicks on the side, honestly. In the summer, yeah, I would like park up at their house and, go get some ass real quick and then, on the clock. But yeah, it's a good $7.25 an hour if you're getting some ass. So yeah, after after that, I start lifting and I start eating. That was the most important part. Like every time I Googled like a lifting video or because my intention was to gain size. I was like, I got this tall frame. All these guys that are super jacked, like the Bradley Martins, the like Arnold Schwarzeneggers, are all like 6 foot, 6'2". I'm like, fuck, I'm tall. I can look like this. So yeah, I just start lifting. Start eating. I was like, man, how are these guys doing it? And I emphasize food. You gotta eat a lot. You gotta eat it all. So, that's the only thing I focused on besides lifting. I said, I gotta hit my body weight in protein, bare minimum, and we gotta lift every day. And, from the moment I started lifting, like, it wasn't like a slow, like, some people kind of go on a rise where they do like a couple exercises, 10 reps, couple exercises, 7 reps, heavyweight, lightweight. I went balls to the wall immediately. I went 3 hours a day. I went 1 body part a day, 8 exercises. And I would do 4 exercises, or four sets. And I would do like fucking 20, 15, sometimes 30 to 100 reps. Like I just had a time. I was like, if I lift like for 3 hours a day, like that was my mindset initially. I was like, if I lift from 2 to 3 hours a day, every day, like there's no way I'm not going to get bigger. Like it's impossible for me not to gain size. So I was just like, all right, I'm just going to do this until I fucking get the physique that I want. And, it's obviously worked. 6 years later, we're look somewhat like a fucking teenage girl. So takes a long time to gain size. I'll tell you that. So yeah, I just knew that I had to kind of just keep on that trail. And then once I got the Ferrum, like initially my coach recruited me to wrestle like 170, 174 in college. And I showed up like 225. He was like, oh my God, what happened? I was like, bro, like, so a couple months prior to me going into Ferrum College, he showed me a video of a guy wrestling at Ohio State. He was a 197 pounder. And he was like, yeah, like, your senior year, you should wrestle 197 and look like this. So I was like, oh, bro, like, it's going to be a little bit sooner. And he like laughed and hung up the phone. And he was, and I literally showed up like 50 pounds heavier, 170 to 225. And he was like, what happened? I was like, bro, I'm doing this. I'm gaining size. You told me to do this. I'm doing this. So I ended up wrestling 197 in college. Do pretty well. I made it to, I think I placed like 3rd or 4th. I took 4th in regionals. Won at least 30, 32 matches and lost a couple, like 4 or 5. But tough career. Fucking wrestling's tough, man. Like we do a lot of things to set like wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys apart is the mindset and the mentality. So like, like a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, a lot of grapplers will just do their practices without a little bit extra to kind of boost their mind. So like, how fighters say, some fighters say they compete better on the weight cut because makes you mentally tougher. It's kind of the same aspect in wrestling, except not so much the weight cut if you're not cutting weight, but the extra stuff that we do, the extra runs, the hill sprints, the times that you have your partner on your back and you're walking down the street, you're climbing up a mountain, those 5-mile runs at 5 a.m., the stadium workouts, those things that boost your mentality, make you tougher, make you meaner. Kind of give you that extra edge where this guy, your opponent moves, does a sequence of 3 to 4 moves in a row, and you're doing 8, 9, 10 moves in a row. You're out working, you're out pacing, and at the same time you're having fun with it. So I think things like that definitely separate people, make you mentally tougher, make you mentally more aggressive, and at the same time, if you have the ability to adapt that with technique and a great team, it can take you a long way.
So how'd you make the transition then from wrestling in college to, being one of the top pound for pound jiu-jitsu athletes in the world?
Yeah. So after my 1 year in college, I was really ready to kind of move on and move on from the Division III. I went to go the D2, D1 to a bigger school. I figured it's going to be more opportunity, a harder, tougher wrestling, but I felt like I was going to learn more. So I went and talked to a couple coaches. I actually went and visited Kutztown because they invited me. They were like, "Yeah, I think we can do something with you." They had I think they had a national Division II national champ. That was like he was going into senior year and was they needed a replacement. So I was like, this could be good for me, and it's closer to home. It was like 2 hours from my hometown as opposed to Ferrum, Virginia, which was like 7-hour drive. So go visit Kutztown. It was pretty nice school. The coaches seemed cool. I come back and that's when I kind of started chasing the modeling career. So I signed with Wilhelmina, almost immediately. Actually, like that summer, I kind of filled out an application online. They got back to me a couple of months later, and they signed me. And amongst that, I started growing like the social media following because I was like, if I could just like post pictures on social media and get some numbers, get some following, this is definitely gonna be profitable. Like I see all these regular guys, not as talented as me, not as good looking as me, making money on Instagram. I'm like, bro, I can definitely do this. Like, count me in. So I was just like, same thing with the lifting. I was like, I'm gonna post a picture a day or a video a day, do these couple hashtags. I'm just gonna do that every day forever and see how it works out. Because that's just I fucking do that with everything. That's how it goes. That's anybody that's successful. That's how they do it. They say I do this every day forever, and see how it works out. You just put all your time into something. Eventually, you're gonna have a positive result. One way or another. So chase the social media. Get a little bit of clout. So like amongst trying to get leaner for Wilhelmina, get a better physique for the shoots. I found grappling through a friend I was bouncing with. So I was like bouncing at a club, and this guy, convinced me to go grapple, and I was like, yeah, bro, let's give it a shot, and I was hooked, man, instantly. Honestly, it's just happened pretty fast. Yeah, I was like, I remember going into the first practice, and my goal was pretty much not to get submitted. So I went around. A couple black belts, a couple brown belts, and a bunch of random people, and nobody submitted me. So next day I went back. I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to get some subs today because obviously these guys can't sub me. So I think throughout the whole day, maybe I got like 1 or 2 subs, and I think there were definitely arm bars. And then Jay Rigabudo, because I was at a place called South Jersey BJJ.
Who's the head instructor there? Shout out.
Steve Bongiorno runs South Jersey BJJ. Shout out Steve. Good dude. So Jay Rigabudo, which is instructor under Steve, found kind of saw me grappling. He was like, if you want to compete, let me know. So he just told me, he was like, bro, you should really show up to my 6 a.m. class. And I was like, there's no way I'm getting up that early and gonna go practice. And I actually did. I actually set my alarm. I was like, fuck, I gotta do this. And that was actually turned into our competition class. So he would have a bunch of guys from other gyms, come to South Jersey BJJ at 6 a.m. to practice. And it was like the toughest room in South Jersey. Tons of Ricardo's guys, some of Tom DeBlas's guys, guys from Grindhouse and James Booth over there would come. So yeah, I had a right from the beginning of my grappling career, I had a large diversity in my training. I was constantly cross training. I wasn't only trained at South Jersey BJJ. I was wrestling at. I would go to high school practices, and I would go to the local community college, which is Gloucester County College at the time. I go to their practices and kind of train with them, and then I go to Ricardo sometimes. I go to James Booth runs a spot called Grindhouse in PA. I go there, and then there might have been one other school. I'd go to Tom's as well. So I constantly every week I was going to different places, sometimes twice a day, and then lifting as well. So right from the beginning, I was getting getting not only the best like coaching in the area, but I was training with the best guys, and I was constantly just constantly training with different guys. So it gave me, I think that really led to my fast rate of success and fast rate of learning. Like the adaptability goes a long way, and it's really not something that everybody has, and it takes a long time to kind of acquire. So yeah, it's something that can come with time for sure.
Just real fast, we got some lightning outside, and we got some lawnmowers, in case you guys hear some feedback.
Yeah.
And then so tell us how you rose to stardom so fast in the jiu-jitsu community, especially through competition, you know?
Yeah. So, man, I remember like I guess my first little touch Actually, I remember my first tournament. I met Tom DeBlast, which is, if you guys don't know who Tom DeBlast is, he's a really large,
killer, man. He's a killer.
Yeah, really good dude. But he's a big face in the jiu-jitsu community. Superstar, has been around for years. Everybody knows who Tom DeBlast is. Has won many titles. Great competitor, awesome coach. So I met him at my first grappling tournament, which was like a Grappling Industries, and I beat 1 or 2 black belts. I had 7 matches that day, right? I scored 80 or 84 points to 0 in the 7 matches. Got like maybe 4 subs, and then the other ones
You said 80 to 0?
80 to 0, yeah. So in the
8-0.
8-0 to 0, yeah.
In one match?
No, in the 7 matches.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. So in the 7 matches, I went unscored on and scored about 80 points to my opponent's nothing.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So after that, Tom came up to me and like Jay Rigabudo introduced me, and he said, bro, you're good. Like, if you want to come train. And I definitely took him up on that offer. No matter, it was like an hour and a half drive from my place, I still, made that happen. So yeah, and then, once I met him, I actually started doing a bunch of research, like, watching YouTube videos, Flow Grappling and whatnot, and seeing like, who the superstars are. And I was like, man, like, it seems like the best guys in the world are right here in New York. And, right here was 3 hours away, because when I lived at my parents, I drove 3 hours. It was about a 3 hour drive to New York and back home. So I was like, man, if I can get in with this crew and train with this crew, like there's no reason why I can't be the best in the world, if not one of the best in the world. You know what I mean? So I kind of just took every opportunity that came my way. Everybody that I met, I was positive towards, and vice versa. So just having a positive outlook, people all invite you to things more. They'll want you to be around them. So, actually, after I practiced at a bunch of these affiliate schools that are affiliated with Henzo's, I got a private. Jay Rigabudo hooked me up with a private grappling session with Gordon. So I went up to Henzo's. Gordon, taught me a couple techniques against. Actually Nick Ronan was like the uke for that, which is another tough grappler that grapples at Henzo's with us. And after that, we kind of Gordon was like, bro, like, whenever you want to come back, feel free to come back and train with us. I went up there the first time training and just got demolished by everybody. Of course, the second, we go live, even for the drilling, I was going pretty hard. But the second we go live, I was going crazy hard. Like, I was just trying to kill everybody. And everybody at Henzo's is so good. They just like, put me in the trash pretty much. It was definitely a wake up call, man. I was like, all right, I gotta slow things down and learn some stuff. So, after going there and continually going there, man, I just saw crazy progress. Like, I was progressing so fast, like jumping from school to school, like down in South Jersey and Philly and stuff. But once I started going up to Henzo's, it was just a different level, man. Like, everybody there, like, if you have any success scoring or getting a sub in practice, it's like man, you really work for that and you earn that. So every round is tough, and then of course learning from Gordon and John just puts everything in perspective and kind of, ensures you that you're doing the right thing, you're in the right place, and you're headed in the right direction.
So I got two questions for you. How long did you spend at Renzo's before you started to compete? And then how long was it training jiu-jitsu before you competed in ADCC?
So from the time I started Renzo's, I was actually competing throughout this whole process, nonstop. Every month or every other month, I would get a competition because I knew I needed experience. My whole goal when I first started cross training and taking this seriously, which was in the first 2 weeks, was winning ADCC. So Jay told me, Jay Rigabuda was listen, there's a real important tournament. It's called ADCC, and it's if you win the trials and if you do well and you potentially win ADCC, win the world championships, it's going to change your life. You're gonna make some real money. This is can be a career. And he showed me this kid Gordon. He was no, this kid's making 6 figures doing just grappling. I was like shit, I do this for free in practice. You know what I mean? So getting paid for it, it's no problem. So immediately I was all right, gotta win the trials. So the West Coast trials come up, and I go in there, and I think first match I have brown belt world champ. I beat him 5 points to 0. Second match I have I don't know a guy's name, but it went viral on Flow Grappling. It was me body slamming Santa Claus. Guy was 6'4", 6'5", at least 350, pretty big dude, and I get behind him, do a nice little try to suplex him, but I just get him an inch off the ground, but I did it. And then I get to the back and get the rear naked choke, or more a face squeeze submission. But yeah, so and then third match I had a real tough wrestler called, his name's Hudson Taylor. He was
I've heard of him.
Yeah, tough, NCAA wrestler, All-American, all that stuff. So I had a good match with him. He beat me by points, and actually the only time he scored was I fucked up really. So I took him down wrestling wise. I got him to the mat with takedowns 3 or 4 times, and then you can only score in ADCC. If we're talking wrestling terms, if you pin your guy for 3 seconds, so shoulders to the mat, inside control, and you're pinning your guy for 3 seconds, or you're in turtle or referee position and you get 2 boots in. So if you have 2 hooks in you, then you get points. So how Hudson Taylor scored was I took a shitty shot amongst the 10 shots that I took, and he lat dropped me, and then side control, I got up and out and then took him down again. But every time I took him down, I wasn't able to pin him or get boots in. He would just go to referee's position, and then we get in a scramble, he'd get up, and then I'd shoot again, take him down, shit like that. So lost that match, and I was fuck, I suck. I'm just like everybody else. This is over. And then third match comes, I win, but I was all right, I guess we'll give this a shot in another 2 years, when the trials come back around. So I need some water, I'm dying. So yeah, ADCC, it's just like the Olympics, every 2 years it comes around. And it's real prestigious. It's the highest ranked, the most valued, gold medal you can have is ADCC, especially in the no-gi game. So yeah, I ended up taking third in the East Coast trials with 6 months of jiu-jitsu. And then, right after, Jay was yo, let's go do the West Coast trials. I was all right, I mean, if you can get me out there, I'm fucking broke, and I got no money at the time. I was yeah, if you can get me out there, I'll make it happen. I'll fucking beat these guys. I took third now. It's 3 months away. I can definitely do some damage over there. So I go to the West Coast trials, and pretty much at the East Coast trials was when I just started training at Renzo's. I've only been at the East Coast trials 5 times, a handful of times I went to Renzo's. In the first week or so. So come West Coast trials, right? I fly out there with about 3 months of training more at Renzo's. So I was at Renzo's and training in a blue basement I want to say 3 to 4 times a week for the past 3 months. And it was a completely different grappler. Like I was calm, I was collected, I was mentally like in a more of a grappler and jiu-jitsu state of mind, not so much the wrestling mentality where it's go go go. So I had all this new technique and talent and all this new perspective on grappling where I was like, all right, I'm gonna apply this in this West Coast Trials, and we're definitely gonna win. We're gonna do some damage. So went over there. I won my points the first match, second match a sub, third match sub.
Who'd you have in the finals there? Do you remember?
Maybe I had 5 matches. I had then fourth match won by points, and finals won by sub. I don't know the guy's name, but he was another tough black belt. Big dude. He was it's pretty tall. He was like about 6'5", big hands and whatnot. But yeah, so with my new perspective and new techniques on jiu-jitsu, I kind of those 3 months it made a world of a difference. I was able to win most of my matches by sub in the West Coast Trials and secure my spot on the ADCC. But more importantly, like the evolution in just those 3 months, because the East Coast Trials wasn't nearly as tough as the West Coast Trials, and like everybody knew that. So everybody was like, man, if you win if you guys win the West Coast Trials, anybody that wins the West Coast Trials is like, you're fucking legit, because it's tough, man. It's a really tough tournament. So that said, I had a pretty decent span in between the West Coast Trials and the ADCC, where I needed to improve, and I also knew that I needed to compete as much as possible. So I want to say maybe I got around 40 or 50 matches in the past year, really, of grappling. It's been quite a bit, might be even more. I'm really not too sure, but I competed like every chance I get. Like it was like at least once a month, sometimes multiple times a month, all the way up through ADCC, because I knew, in my opinion, especially in wrestling, like experience is everything. Like there's many occasions, many stories of wrestlers, right? Like regular average wrestlers that like don't even make it out of districts, and in Jersey you have to place top 3 in districts, regions, and then you can make it to states. It might be top 4 now, I'm not sure, but when I was there it was top 3. So yeah, you would see guys that didn't even make it out of districts. 1 year later, they're winning state titles in the toughest state in the country when it comes to wrestling. So we were like, how does this happen? So amongst going to a wrestling club, I went to Siegel's Wrestling Club, which is in small group in like Manchester, New Jersey. Learned a ton there. So like wrestling in the off season is huge. It's such a big part of the sport, especially if you want to have extreme success. Like you gotta wrestle year round, and not only wrestle year round, you have to compete year round. So this guy that went from not even making it out of districts to winning a state title, he had close to 80 matches in the summer. So in like 3 to 4 months, he had a ton of matches up until the next wrestling season, and it just completely changed his game. He was like constantly, I was doing tournaments, and it absolutely changed my game, changed my mentality, because in those, if you're only wrestling in the wrestling season, then you might have, if you're good, you might have like 30 to 40 wins or 40 matches. I think most schools have like 25, 30 matches, something like that. So yeah, it's not that many. So even if you wrestle 4 years, it's really not a ton of matches. Getting 100 wins is a little bit easier now because there's more matches, but it's not the easiest thing to do. So the fact that he pretty much had more, he crammed as much wrestling as he could into those few months. Like he pretty much crammed like 3 seasons into those couple months. So he came back like pretty much with 3 more seasons of experience. So it's like you one up everybody. And I think that's what people miss. Like people are like, train. Like, yes, you train every day, but you also have to compete, and you have to compete frequently. It's a completely different thing. Like very few people are able to put their mind and their body into the state where they are competing. Like some people get nervous and shit before practice because they can feel like, maybe I can't say some people, but for me, I get nervous before practice because I'm like, I mentally put myself inside competition. Like before practice starts, I'm on the mat, fucking crowd's there. I gotta beat this guy. I'm game planning. My nerves are there. I'm fucking, and then like ironically, when real competition comes, I'm much calmer because I'm there so often. But yeah, like you have to compete frequently because it's a completely different ball game. Like experience is everything, and competition experience is really gonna be a game changer if you want to be a great competitor, whether it's wrestling, grappling, fighting, whatever it is. Yeah.
So we're at about 45 minutes now. Let's. Is there any particular ADCC matches or moments that really stood out? I know one that didn't get enough coverage was your match against Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando's a tough guy, man. It's just it's so crazy to see like a matchup like that, like where a guy's 350, 360 pounds, and then versus a guy that's 220, 225. I was like one of my lightest physiques was in ADCC, about 225. Yeah, so that's just a matchup like that. It's like, yeah, you know, you can use good wrestling and technique, but it's also 350 pounds. Like, how well are you going to be able to move this guy and keep him off you? Like, if I was to make a mistake, like let's get in. I took a couple double legs, for instance, and if he sprawls on me, and it's going to be a bad day if I had to get up. You know, getting up with 300 pounds plus on your back is not an easy thing to do, man. Especially, Orlando's super athletic. He can move crazy fast for his size and his weight. It's crazy, man.
So is it, you want to look over like one particular moment of that match, maybe when he took his back or something?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, so I'm gonna pull this up right now.
Orlando earlier on with the Orlando Jam. I was talking to Orlando in the back. I told him how we named this little pass.
So right here,
Orlando Jam. Rodriguez gets the big man to his back.
Yeah, a lot of people like. So some I always do is like I jog back to the center of the mat, right? And I think it definitely puts a toll on your opponent's mentality. It kind of like it's like if he's walking and I'm running, it's like, fuck, this guy's got that much more energy. Same thing like for fighters. Fighters will talk to their opponents like when they're standing up, when they're fighting, just to kind of like mentally drain them. It's the same concept. If you're dead tired and your opponent's jogging back to the mat looking fresh, you're like, fuck, this guy's about to explode as soon as we go. And it's just it's mentally draining. So little things like that I do can definitely play a big role and have a big effect in the match's outcome. And big more like Orlando, like my whole goal was to kind of stay around the outside. Like I took a couple of bullshit shots, like double legs and stuff, to just kind of test out his balance and his reactions. But my main goal that whole match was to snap him down to the mat. And I remember like the first couple initial snaps, because he was like, I kind of got him coming forward to me, so as soon as he stepped, I would just snap, and immediately he was like, "What the fuck was that?" Like we shook hands, whistle, like, and reps was like, "Go," and my first instinct, I was like, "Boom, snap," and I snapped him and got him to take a step or so forward, and he was like, "What the fuck was that?" And we squared up, and I was able to snap him down to the mat, take his back, and I didn't get a choke, but dude, I got to his back, and I couldn't lock my hands around his head. Like it was like trying to hold a beach ball, bro. Like I could not. There was no way I could finish or find his neck. I was like, I'm just gonna hold on and see how long I stay on this dude's back. And then like he would like try to roll and like escape, right? But like if I was to kind of follow, like it felt like every time he tried to roll, like my leg was going to explode. So I was like hesitant to put two hooks in. So like in the match, if you guys go back and rewatch like me and Orlando Sanchez, I would like throw a hook in, and I would like be hesitant to put the other one in because I was like, if this dude rolls, like if he rolls on my leg, he's gonna blow my knee out, like almost guaranteed. So I definitely had that in the back of my mind. You gotta make mid-match adjustments. I wasn't trying to take a blow like that for if I knew I was up already in points or whatever. I know I was gonna win the match. So
yeah. Here we're at a minute 52, a minute 22, and just talk us through the sequence real fast.
I told him how we named his little passing sequence to
Yeah,
Orlando
snapped
Jam.
out
Rodriguez gets the big man to his back. Gets to the back of Orlando.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He's not the most technical, and he shouldn't be. I don't think he trains, nearly as much as we do. Like he's got a family and shit like that. Where in life, all that matters for me is fucking grappling. So, but yeah, my goal with somebody like that, for most people that are going against somebody bigger, like there's many ways you can take somebody down from the outside and not risking them sprawling on you. Because like taking a double leg on somebody that's your size is completely different than taking a double on somebody that has 20 pounds on you, let alone 120. So mid-match adjustments goes a long way, man.
Sweet. So after ADCC, you kind of crowned your title as one of the best in the world. What's coming next as far as the Nicky Rod brand?
I don't know. I literally have no clue. So I'm the kind of guy that just takes it as it is. I take each day at a time, just for what it is. I don't I try not to plan too much because I feel like plans just always get fucked up. So I just I constantly try to grow my name, grow my brand, but whatever it does lead into will be positive, will be great.
And, so some of the stuff that we got working together, we've got some merch coming out soon. Yeah. Thank you guys. This is the first episode of the podcast so far. We're going to do tons more. If there's anything you guys want to see at home, if you want to see particular guests, different segments, let us know. We got a bunch of stuff planned. So what's next for you, man?
So what's next for me, grappling wise? I compete July 11th. Third Coast Grappling in Houston, Texas. I got a tournament over there. Gonna have to put my paws on some people. So yeah, that'd be good. But we're definitely going to be doing more podcasts. I'm gonna get some guests on here for you guys. Get some couches. This isn't gonna be the standard setup. This is just I literally yesterday and in the past few days I've been to like 8 different furniture stores and nobody has matching couches. Everything's like brown, black, white, gray, shit like that. So I'm gonna order some couches, maybe a table. We're gonna hook this shit up. Eventually, we're gonna get rich and we're gonna get a fucking studio, make that shit look dope, right. But for now, we're in the living room. And yeah, I guess we'll catch you guys next time on Nicky Rod All Access.
All right, guys, thanks so much.
That's good. I know if I was gonna be able to ramble that much,
All right, thanks, guys.
Baby, come and ride with a big dog, bouncing up and down like a seesaw. No T, but I be raw. Porsche 911, that's the ER.